Man, Shinto is thirsty. Look at that dude.
Hello everyone. So today we are going to talk about the restriction for the upcoming Vanguard collab. That will be another 3 set. Yep. So BP09 coming out soon. BP10, and then we will have the Vanguard collab. So 3 set coming up. So it's been announced that there will be a pre-hit. There's a pre-restriction for the Vanguard collab. So what was announced is Vortex Dragon, as we can see this card over here. So it is a Kagero card, 5 mana, 6/6. Fanfare, we can banish up to 3. We have to banish 3 Kagero cards from your cemetery. Select up to 2 enemy followers on the field and destroy them. Alright, so let's start off with the reaction. So a lot of people, when this was announced, a lot of people went to research and try to figure out, was this a good hit? Was this a good restriction? And what we found is that it's not going to do much to Kagero. It is the tier 0 deck, and in Japan, Kagero is still seeing play till this date. And in Japan, they hit Kagero a bit differently. So in Japan, they actually banned both the amulets from the starter deck. Both of these amulets are banned. They are from the starter decks. But for EN, this is for JPR. So for EN, right, they're gonna have to do things differently. Firstly, because you can't ban anything from the starter deck, because that will affect the starter deck sales. If you're gonna ban a starter deck, it's just gonna make the starter deck not good for the new players. So any new players, and Vanguard's gonna attract new players, right? This is something that we are not, we can't be denial of. We are gonna attract all the Vanguard players to play the game. And if the Vanguard players were to buy a starter deck and the starter deck can't be played, that will be a problem. So in this case, they can't hit anything from the starter deck for the Vanguard collab. So this ban list came out 13 December 2024. So if I'm not wrong, there's like maybe BP 11 or BP 12. Yeah, so this was much later when Kagero, it's not during the Kagero meta, the CPO3, the Vanguard collab meta. This was like 1 or 2 set later, and then they announced the hit. So now we have the understanding, so we understand why Vortex Dragon is hit instead of these 2 amulet. And this is where I think, Cygames and Bushiroad hits the wall. Like all this pre-restriction, especially for such a important collab such as Vanguard, they just can't ban strong cards without consideration. Alright, so if we look at the cards that are available in the card pool, in the Kagero, there's a lot of problematic things. First of all, you cannot ban any of the triggers, because triggers are the main mechanics for the game for Vanguard. So these 4 cards, you are not going to be able to ban them. The next thing is boss card. You're not going to be able to restrict them or ban them as well, because that is what sells the game, right? Especially when it comes to a collab such as Vanguard. You do not want to ban iconic cards such as Dragoning Overlord the End. You do not want to hit maybe Fender Blaster Overlord, things like that. They are the identity of the clan. If you play Vanguard, yeah, they are called clan. So even though a lot of people say, Dragoning Overlord of the End is the problem, we just can't outright restrict or ban it. Yeah, so that is a problem that, you know, Cygames and Bushiroad are facing, because if they're gonna ban it, then no one's gonna play the game. You ban it outright. Oh, my favorite clan, you know, the boss card are not there. Why should I be playing the game? All right. So one more thing is that I'm not trying to defend Bushiroad or Cygames like this restriction list, right? I'm just trying to understand the viewpoint of why this card is banned, and you know, this is one of the reason I believe that why we are not banning anything. I feel that it is much more stronger. So that's a bit of a spoiler. So this card, right? Um, this restriction of Vortex Dragon isn't gonna hit Kagero that much. As we, you know, start to look into how Kagero is played in Japan. So most of the deck run two of it. Well, it is a very good card. You know, you can banish 3 Kagero during the late game, and you can destroy up to 2 cards, and you still got a 5 mana 6/6 body. It's a very good card, to be honest. But that is not the main problem of the deck. And when we see I mean, here we see him playing 3, but honestly most of the deck are playing 2. Okay, this is another deck. Yeah, I'll go back to that later. Sorry. Okay, these are other decks as well. So you know, if you go to like, I mean, this is a very good resource by Kila. Shout out to him. He has been doing very good work for resource for Shadowverse Evolve. If you look at all the Kagero dragons, you realize that a lot of the Vortex Dragon is actually at 2 piece, or some deck might even be running 1 piece. You know, there's of course decks that's running 3 pieces. That card is pretty strong, to be honest, but you know, most of the deck are running 2 pieces. And when we figure this out, right, when most of the deck are running 2 pieces to 3 pieces, and a lot this is another, this is the full dragon. Okay, so a lot of people is like, oh, most deck are running 2 pieces of Vortex Dragon, then this card is not going to do anything to Kagero at all. It's just not going to nerf Kagero enough. And honestly, I don't think that thinking is wrong. That thinking is very valid, because as you can see over here, Vortex Dragon is down to 1. Instead, this Better None is being played instead. What this Better None do is, sorry, so it's called Better None, right? Better Sister, sorry. Yeah, so Better Sister is played because of the on drive. Give this follower +1/+1. Look at the top 5 of your deck. Put any number of them on the top of the deck in any order. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So this card is good because it helps you stack the triggers. Okay? On drive. So you are stacking for maybe 2 turns ahead, because you attack, it will be a single drive check, and then you have the next 4 cards to you know, change the order, so that you know, it's kind of predicting your future. So the question is, why they play that is because they want to play with Dragonite Overlord the end, because Dragonite Overlord the end have twin drive, and on strike you can pay 3 and discard to attack again. So the next 4 cards that you stack, right, you could easily stack triggers to make that Kagero to make that Dragonite Overlord the end a lot stronger, especially if you stack your crits or stack your heal. All right, so that's why I think this Better Sister Coco is being played. But this is not often seen, as we can see that if you're gonna go through the list of decks that top, There's not much deck that is playing Better Sister Coco. I think, yeah, it's just a few decks. Even this is running 2 only. And so a lot of people, after finding and discussing in the community, I think a lot of people feels that, you know, this restriction is very, very underwhelming, and feels like, you know, this was done without much consideration, to put it nicely. So here's the thing. I'm not defending Bushiro or Sai Games, but I took a step back and I look at this in a different way. So the question is, does Vortex Dragon nerf Kagero? But that is just looking at things in a niche. Not say, maybe not that's not the right word. We are just looking at one thing. We are not looking at the bigger picture. And I took a step back and asked, does restricting this card actually helps the whole of the Vanguard collab? And I think, honestly, it does. I think that's the reason why Vortex Dragon was hit and none of the other cards. Because honestly, if you ask me, what are strong cards that can be hit without hitting Dragonite Overlord the end, without killing the identity of the clan, I would have said maybe Berserk Dragon. I feel like it's a very strong turn 3 remover. I mean, this is not taking into account that, you know, you're messing up the starter deck. If I were to assume that it's fine to hit cards in the starter deck, I would have hit either Berserk Dragon or Dragon Knight Nahilium, or even follower Rias to make the deck less consistent. Yeah, so these are 3 cards that are on top of my list to restrict them, because I feel that this was too much tempo gain. This is too aggressive, and then this makes, you know, the deck very consistent. If you guys want to read the effect, you can pause the video. So if you were to ask me, like, how do I gonna restrict the deck without destroy the identity of the clan, these are the 3 cards that I would have hit. If I don't care if the cards I hit are in starter deck, and of course, you know, we can always, you know, the amulet is also a good card to hit. But I think that the Lizard Runner was part of the identity as well of the Kagero decks, so that might be a bit hard. So those were the cards that I would have banned. But why this card, right? And this card can be easily replaced. It got me thinking, if we were to look at other Vanguard decks, right? So if you look at other Vanguard decks and how they are played, I would say that other than Aqua Force, because Aqua Force do have a lot of aggro cards, is more of a aggro deck. If I remember correctly, what stand out to me was that, you know, a lot of deck that was a lot slower couldn't fight against Kagero because of how much destruction Kagero have, such as Runecraft. We have Dragon Tamer, Liquor, with Nightmare Door at least. This deck likes to flood the board, and flood the board very, very well, but always dies to Kagero board white remover. Another deck will be OTT, like Oracle Ting Pen. They are a deck that, you know, requires you to play a hit, and their cards aren't as storm aggressive, so their followers needs to be on the field to gain advantage over time. So that is why I feel that they might have hit Vortex Dragon instead, so that other decks such as OTT and Royal Paladin and Runecraft, Pale Moon over here can build up their board and do not have to be so worried about, Kagero destroying their board over and over again. So if we look at it from that way, does Vortex Dragon actually helps the overall picture of the whole Vanguard collapse of the meta? Does it really balance out the meta more? Then I would say that I understand why they hit Vortex Dragon instead. So now the question instead of was Vortex Dragon a good hit, which I think at the moment, because of that question, I think it is a good hit. Now the question changed to how much does Vortex Dragon actually affect the meta? So this is something that, I do not know, to be honest, because it's just very, you have to test everything, and first of all, that's going to be a lot of time consume that's going to be very time consuming. The thing just happened in a day. I do not know if I want to go and test that out, but yeah, so this is where I am stuck at the moment. Like, is Vortex Dragon a very good hit for the overall collapse, and how much does it really help? Yeah, so that will be my question at the moment. Is there anything I want to add to this idea? No, I don't think so. Yeah, maybe another thinking of the why they didn't restrict other cards is that there's only 2 neutral, and you don't want to nerf the neutral cards because that will affect all the other classes as well. I'm not too sure if all the other classes play these 2 cards, but I think they will, they might need, yeah. So that's why you don't restrict the neutral cards as well. Okay, so restrict Vortex Dragon was the right move. If honestly this is the idea, right? You want to reduce Dragon's oppression on the other classes. Honestly, I was wondering why not just outright ban Vortex Dragon. Honestly, in my days of Vanguard, I don't remember Vortex Dragon being a clan identity. And honestly, it one piece is still searchable, and if we just outright bans it, is gonna allow all the other Vanguard decks, I think, to have a lot better gameplay. Doesn't matter against Dirt Rune, because against Dirt Rune you already have quite a lot of very good early gains removal to get rid of 4 and 5 damage, such as you have Berserk Dragon, able to deal 3 and deal 2, or on drive deal 3, Fanfare discard deal 2, yeah, I feel that what else do they have? But honestly, I feel that maybe they should have outright just banned Vortex Dragon. I've not really looked into, like, if let's say Vortex Dragon got nerfed, were other of the non-Vanguard deck do well. Maybe not against D-Shift Rune, because D-Shift chest is Kuon based, so it's still OTK deck. Maybe good Bats Abyss might have a better chance as well, because it will make Crimson Rose Queen a bit harder to remove, I feel. That rune maybe a bit, but I don't see changing much to this two. But I believe it will change much to all the other Vanguard decks, such as Royal Paladin, Orator, Think Tank, and Pale Moon, for sure. So with that said, what do you guys think about this restriction after I've come out with this argument? I like I said, I'm not trying to defend them. I'm just trying to see if does this this restriction makes sense at all. So with my explanation, do you guys feel that, you know, Vortex Dragon getting restricted make more sense? And do you guys feel that, I mean, if it makes sense, do you guys think that it is a good enough restriction? And with that said, guys, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time.